In this world, is it like the hand of God hovering above? At least it is true that man has no control, even over his own will. Man takes up the sword in order to shield the small wound in his heart. Man wields the sword so that he may die smiling in some far-off time beyond perception. That opening monologue from Berserk 1997 has always stuck with me. The words sound beautiful, but they also feel heavy in a way that is uncomfortable. Like it is not just asking about fate, but telling you that no matter what you do, you are already losing. Every time I hear it, the mood feels dark, and you already know this story is going to be heavy. And that is exactly what happens with Guts. His life is brutal, unfair, and filled with suffering from the moment he is born. From the first episodes, Berserk makes it clear that pain is normal in this world. Trust is fragile. Kindness is rare. People suffer, and sometimes for no reason at all. You see betrayal, loss, cruelty, and fear treated like everyday life. It feels uncomfortable because it is supposed to. This world does not protect innocent people. It breaks them. So, in this video, I want to talk about why Guts becomes the person he is. Not just as a warrior, but as a human. Why someone with every reason to give up still chooses to move forward, and what that says about pain, identity, and the way we survive things that should have destroyed us. The story constantly reminds you that safety is temporary and happiness is fragile. And the worst part is that nobody is coming to save anyone. That matters because Guts is a product of this world. Every wound makes more sense when you realize this is the environment that raised him, and once you understand that, you will understand his personality is more like survival. Guts was born into death. His mother died before he even took his first breath, and his body was found by a group of mercenaries who were passing through. One woman named Shisu chose to take him in, and for a short time, that was the closest thing he ever had to warmth. But that did not last. Shisu died from illness, and everything after that started to fall apart. Gambino, the man who raised him, became bitter, broken, and emotionally unstable. Instead of protection, Guts grew up surrounded by anger, blame, and silence. As he got older, Guts started to be treated less like a child and more like a burden. He was called cursed, blamed for things he never caused, even accused of bringing misfortune just by existing. There is also a moment in his childhood where something deeply wrong happens to him, involving an older man and betrayal from the person he trusted most. It is one of those experiences that quietly damages the way someone sees trust forever. The worst moment comes when Gambino, completely consumed by his own pain, tries to end Guts' life. Guts survives, but in self-defense, he ends up killing the only father figure he ever knew. He becomes a mercenary because it is the only thing he knows how to do. Sword in hand, body moving forward, mind shut down. Fighting becomes routine, almost like breathing. He focuses only on staying alive. There is no dream, no direction, no future in his head. Just the next battle and the next meal. He keeps training until his body breaks and then keeps going. You see it in moments like when he fights dozens of soldiers alone, wounded and exhausted, but still standing. His fighting style is raw and desperate. He will take damage just to land a hit. He will use any method as long as it keeps him alive. Every battle feels like survival mode, and at this point in his life, the sword is not just a weapon, it is his identity. The problem is, living like this cannot last forever, and then someone enters his life who changes everything. Everything shifts when Guts meets Griffith and joins the Band of the Hawk. For the first time in his life, he experiences something that feels like belonging. People fight beside him instead of using him. Casca cares about his safety. The group eats together, laughs together, survives together. It feels like a family. Griffith becomes the center of that world. Confident, calm, admired by everyone. Guts starts to respect him, then admire him, then slowly tie his own identity to Griffith's dream. He convinces himself that his purpose is to swing his sword for this man. That as long as Griffith's dream is alive, his life has meaning too. But that belief quietly breaks when he overhears Griffith say that a real friend must have his own dream and stand as an equal. In that moment, Guts realizes something painful. He is not a friend. He is a tool. That realization pushes Guts to leave the Band of the Hawk, not out of hate, but out of confusion and the need to find himself. He tells Casca that he is tired of living for someone else's dream. This time, he wants to fight for his own life, his own meaning. And that decision, as simple as it sounds, ends up triggering consequences far bigger than he ever imagined. There is a turning point in the story that fans know as the eclipse. I will keep this part simple and respectful, but the meaning is clear. Guts loses almost everyone he ever cared about in a single moment through betrayal. The people who felt like family are gone. The future he thought he had is erased. And the person he trusted most becomes the reason behind it. After this, Guts is no longer fighting just to survive. He is fighting because the pain needs somewhere to go. His purpose becomes revenge. His nights become restless. His mind becomes a battlefield between rage and sanity. You can see how close he constantly is to losing himself, to becoming the same kind of monster he hates. But this is where Berserk becomes deeper than just tragedy. The real conflict is not only Guts versus demons, it is Guts versus himself. Every step forward forces him to choose between holding on to his humanity or surrendering to the darkness inside him. And what makes his story powerful is that even when he is drowning in hatred, part of him still wants to protect something. It is easy to look at Guts and label him as just an angry character, loud, violent, broken. But that misses the point. He does not fit neatly into hero or anti-hero. He's shaped by trauma who still feels deeply, even when he tries to hide it. You see it in the way he protects people, even when he pretends not to care. You see it in the way guilt follows him, especially when he thinks about Gambino and the innocent people caught in his path. Because of his past, Guts struggles with trust and closeness. He does not know how to handle affection without fear. He often pushes people away before they can leave him first. That behavior makes sense when you remember how every bond he formed early in life ended in pain. Yet over time, through Casca and the companions he meets later, you slowly see him open up little by little. Philosophically, Guts feels like an existential character, someone thrown into a cruel world without meaning, who still chooses to build his own. He does not wait for fate to save him. He does not believe the world owes him anything. He simply keeps moving forward, deciding who he wants to be through action, not destiny. And that question of choice versus fate is where the real weight of his story starts to land. What makes Guts truly powerful character is not his strength. It is the fact that he refuses to lose his humanity. Every part of his life pushes him toward becoming cold, cruel, and empty. Yet he keeps choosing to protect instead of only destroy. He keeps choosing connection instead of isolation. That choice is small, but it is constant. His real enemy is not fate, not apostles, not even Griffith. It is the version of himself that would rather give up on being human. Berserk quietly suggests that humanity is built through experience, integrity, and daily decisions. Guts keeps choosing not to cross certain lines, even when he has every excuse to, and that makes his story less about monsters and more about resistance. Quiet, painful, human resistance. When I go back to that opening question about fate, it hits differently after seeing everything Guts goes through. It no longer feels like just a cool monologue. It feels like a challenge. His life is proof that even if the world is unfair, even if the odds are cruel, there is still something inside a person that can refuse to surrender every single day. Guts loses too much. His childhood, his family, his sense of safety, his future, his peace of mind. There are moments where giving up would make sense, but he keeps standing up, not because he is special, but because he chooses to. That is what makes his journey painful to watch, but also meaningful. He is not a perfect character. He is not even a good person all the time. He is angry, messy, and full of scars that never fully heal. But he understands his past instead of running from it. He keeps walking forward with everything he carries. And somehow, through all the suffering, he does not become empty. He becomes more human. If I got anything wrong about Guts or Berserk, correct me in the comments, and tell me which character should be deep dive next, because there are so many stories worth unpacking like this. If this video meant something to you, you can support it in simple ways. Like the video, subscribe if you want more character breakdowns like this, and the bell helps too if you actually want to catch the next upload. Thank you for watching, seriously.